I know it's still very weird and very taboo in India to talk about all of this. I just want to know that how and when did you get to know that you are going to be known by a certain sexuality? What age did you find out? What problems did you face?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily weird. It's just that straight people get very uncomfortable when they see queer people talk about themselves, that is weird. That discomfort is weird, according to me. And yeah, I kind of always knew, like ever since I was really, really young. I did not necessarily first we tend to see people generally first discover their gender identity because gender is so social and so ingrained in us. So I first kind of always experimented with my gender expression and with my hair, with my outfits, with my, like, I started doing makeup very young. I was what, 12 years old. So I started with my makeup. I did not really adhere to the very feminine, quote unquote, sense of style. And so I started very young. I started with my gender expression. That turned into my heteronormative environment being very uncomfortable by that, as I mentioned. And then I kind of realized that I'm also not heterosexual. I'm not necessarily interested in men. I used to identify as a bisexual person. But ever since I've come out as non binary and I've kind of explored more, I realized that I'm more comfortable with being identified as queer and not non bisexual. So,
All
that's
right.
how I discovered.
Okay. Did you face any problems
Oh, yeah.
when you first found out?
Way too many of them.
Okay.
I have so much like trauma from that. No, I use it now. I joke about it because I can joke about it. But back then, I was really young. It was very traumatizing for me because my school and my family. My school, my family didn't know. They're like, why is this daughter of ours? Because they saw me as their daughter. So why is our daughter exploring, like, why is she wearing men's clothes and why is she dressing like this, why is she getting a haircut? So that kind of stuff was there. And my school, my school and my church, I was in a very religious institution. They did not appreciate the fact that I was not straight. They did not appreciate the fact that I was not interested in being a baby maker for a man. That there was, they told me once that I should be a man's wife and a mother before anything. So they did not like the fact that I did not want to be a wife and a mother to a man. And I was put through conversion therapy for 3 years, I think. And when I was 13, okay. I started when I was 13 until 16. And then I left that place because I was so done with it. And at first I thought that it will help me, quote unquote, help me become straight. And I would actively try to hide my sexuality and my gender. But then I think I stopped caring at one point and I just left that place.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, how long can you go on with something like that?
Yeah, because initially it's like you're a child. So the adults you think know everything, which now as an adult, I know nobody knows anything. But as a child, I thought that everybody knows it and I was following their orders. I thought maybe I will become straight and quote unquote normal. But look how that turned out. Did not work at all. So yeah.
All right, that was quite a journey you went through. And Xena, what about you? When did you find out?
For me, it was like kinda I always knew. I would say through my middle school, I knew I was attracted to girls, to be very precise, because seeing girls attracted to boys was very common, but me being attracted to girls, like I knew it was happening, but at the same time, I wasn't, ready to accept myself as a whole. So maybe that was what took time. But I do remember this one funny incident. It's now funny. That time it was a bit embarrassing for me. When I was in my middle school, I was in 6th or 7th grade, as far as I remember. And there was this one girl I had a very huge crush on. Like I used to, look at her, how she used to, flip through the pages, how she used to, observe things. I used to look at her. But what she did, she went to my class in charge and she complained about it, that this girl is creeping me out, although I had no intentions to do so. I was literally just crushing on her. And after the end of the day at school, my class in charge called me up. She was like, why are you staring at girls?
Oh
I
God.
didn't have an answer to that because I didn't know why would a person just come up to me because I had no intentions to do so. So that part was a bit weird. That is why I guess first of all, I didn't knew much about the community as a whole. To be very precise, I wasn't educated about it well, if, whether it be school or family or anything. See, movies, we all know it very well how it's been for the community. So I didn't had much idea, and when I came to my high school, nothing like that. I didn't see, it was like ups and downs in the way that I wasn't ready to accept myself. I wasn't ready if what I am feeling is right or wrong, and despite the fact that I knew I was feeling it, right? So I guess it was around 11th or 12th, like I was like, yeah, I'm sure whatever I'm feeling is valid. I need to have a proper research about it. I went online, I looked through the terms, I wanted to see where I fit in right. I still sometimes feel I'm not at the right, place. Maybe I need to discover myself more, but that's just a part of it. And I remember trying to put off small hints because I was closeted for quite a while. And it was after my 12th that I started putting off hints at my house. Matlab, it started with me putting a rainbow cover of my phone, but unfortunately, no one noticed. And it was this one very day I was fuck it, I don't care. Let's see what will happen. And it turned out to be a little ugly because in my college, like I was far away from it. So I was like, okay, let's accept it here. Because, daily people might be broad minded. And I was living in Haryana for like the past 8 years. So I was like, it's going to be great. Let's see how it goes. But people turned out to be, judgy and weird around me. So I was like, okay, that's also part of it. But then it came to my family, like they obviously didn't take it well, but and at one time I used to blame them for it. I was like, dude, why don't you understand me? This is just me, why can't you accept it? But then after a while I was like, okay, they were programmed to feel that way. I can't that I have stopped blaming them, but at the same time they are like, okay, they are also still in the journey of learning it. So it's been up and down, but now, yeah, even I am exploring much more. That's about it.
Okay, yeah, that's actually nice. I mean, I feel pity to be a part of the society, where even homosexuality, all of this, children are made to feel like they're not normal. That if they feel
Yeah,
certain way or their sexualities are certain way, they're away from the normal, you know. And your
yeah,
friend of
yeah.
mine, she was actually sent to a mental hospital because their
Oh
parents
my,
thought that she had
so
lost her mind. Yeah,
I
so it's
I
very
remember
difficult.
joining. I remember joining one of these programs. It was by a person in the community, and they wanted us to be, vocal about it, and like they wanted it was comfortable with us, obviously, to talk about these things,
Mhm.
gradually with our parents. And this one fine day, I was like, yes, I do it. I had my own aspirations. I was like, yes, I can do it. And I had this whole as PPT prepared with everything I at my level knew about the community, and I put it out.
Okay.
They were just staring at me. They were like, yeah, we know what it is, obviously, but
Hmm.
they said this one thing that kind of hurted me a bit कि यार दूसरों के बच्चे हो तो ठीक है हम क्या कर सकते हैं but अपने पे it takes time, we can't accept it. But then it was like, I was rebellious. I was quite rebellious through my teens. I was like, नहीं करना तो क्यों नहीं करना? But फिर after a while I stopped blaming them because I was like, यार maybe उनके पेरेंट्स ने जैसे उनको सिखाया, they are just showing, they're just putting that out. I can't really change a
Yeah.
50-year-old person. I can't just randomly go and change their thoughts, what they have been saying it for a while. It will take some time. Maybe that's where I was like, okay, it's fine. It'll be fine. One day, maybe. I still hope for that. But I'm like, okay, one day, maybe I'll get to that.
Yeah, one day India will be a place where, it's still normal.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the most hurtful. Not hurtful. I think, in my opinion, it's beautiful, but otherwise it's hurtful. Thing is, when I'm talking to kids, because in my head, I have like a lot of queer friends. Most of my friends are from the community only. So in my head, it's like, yeah, okay, gay people, cool. Plus, I don't give a shit. I'm very open-minded and stuff. So for me, it's very normal. But when I'm talking to kids, they look at me and they're like, "Oh my, oh my God, you have short hair. How do you do makeup? Does it not look weird?" It's like, oh. And then I tell them, "Oh, even if you have short, if it's a boy, I'm like, even if you have short hair, you can do your makeup. You can put like nail paint and stuff." And the look on their face, they're like, "What? ऐसे भी होता है?" That's very beautiful for me because it's like उनको
That's
बताया
a
ही नहीं गया.
great feeling.
हाँ, उनको बताओ and then their brains just explode in front of you. They're like, ऐसे भी होता है, कर सकते हैं. And then I go further and show them like pictures of Harry Styles and stuff, and they're like, हैं, इसने dress पहनी
Oh,
है. And I'm like, हाँ, you can do
this
that.
is adorable. This
That's
is adorable.
adorable. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. So, like Ishita has already talked about conversion therapy, but all of us, we don't know exactly what happens, right? I mean, I've heard about conversion therapy, I know a little bit about it, but not as much as a person who suffered through it would know. So, I would like you to tell our viewers what is conversion therapy and how did how did you first feel when you went into it, and how did you feel after you came out of it?
There is not one kind of conversion therapy, unfortunately, because the world likes to. Can I curse, by the way? Can I like have a bit of a
Yeah,
not
a little bit. I
little
guess a
bit
little
fine?
bit might work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the world likes to fuck us over a lot, which is why there are multiple kinds of conversion therapy. And it's not just like religious. I went through religious conversion therapy where they just make you sit and for Bibles. I went through Christian conversion therapy. So they make you sit for hours with
God.
Bible sessions and they tell you man and woman are supposed to be married and you're supposed to be someone's wife and you're supposed to have 2 children. And I'm like, no thanks, bro. Mujhe nahi karna hai. But they make you do that for like years. And then you have other gay kids also whom you can see. Like that's what happened with me. The first day I went in, I just sat in the back and I was like, kya ho raha hai? And I was so annoyed. And there was one kid sitting next to me. Listen, are you a lesbian? Very slowly,
God.
that kid asked me, and I was like, yeah, what about you? Yeah, even I think I am, but I'm just here because my mom wanted me to be. I don't really give a shit. I was like, great, cool, same. And like that person and I, we went through that for like 3 years. We were together and we would just sit and be like, "ये क्या पढ़ा रहे हैं यार? ये क्या बकवास कर रहे हैं? What the hell is happening?" And we just like share pictures of Sushmita Sen and stuff and be like, "Yeah, so pretty." So that's what we did. I didn't really pay much attention into it because I knew I wasn't doing the wrong thing necessarily.
Okay.
So they would tell me stuff. Ki Leviticus this says that man shall not lay with a man as with a woman. And I was like, and I said this. I was in what, 9th grade? And I said this ki, okay, if man shall not lay with a man as with a woman, can I just lay with a woman?
Yeah.
I said this to a priest, and the priest just like stared at me and was like, huh? And he sent me home. He's like,
ये क्या
you
बोल
need
दिया?
he's like, you need to go
Okay.
and be with the Lord. And I was like, no, thanks. I'd rather go and play games, but thanks. I'll go home. So that's what happened with me. I again always had a very rebellious attitude, so I didn't pay attention to their stuff. But as I grew older, I realized how traumatizing it was because I did try to adhere to the binary and adhere to heteronormativity. And other types of conversion therapy actually are much worse. People are put in mental institutions. They are made to like have shock therapy and trigger warning. I'll be mentioning sexual assault. So people are actually
Oh,
families
that's okay.
conversion rape on their own kids to make them straight. It
Oh
happened.
my God.
Yeah, it happened I will not take anybody's name because I don't have their consent. There is a friend of mine. They identify as gender fluid and queer. They went through
Okay.
their sex assigned at birth is male. So some female from their family actually conducted conversion rape on them to quote unquote turn them straight. And it's been what 6-7 years and they're still dealing with the repercussions of that. And this is a very scarily common thing. They were put through conversion shock therapy, and they were put on antipsychotic drugs because mental health practitioners in India actually still do it. And I actually went to a therapist for like my general issues, which I have a lot of, unfortunately. But I went to a therapist and he was homophobic and he was just like, do you think you should first work upon your sexuality? And I was like,
Oh God.
I was like, excuse me, I should work on my what? And he's like, yeah, you think you should work on what you like. And I was like, no, bro, girls are amazing. I'm fine with where I am. Thank you so much. And I never went for another session again. So it's unfortunately a very common thing. Plus, it's normalized by godmen and stuff. Baba Ramdev was wonderfully quoted saying that yoga can cure homosexuality.
Yeah.
Sure, okay, go off, I guess. And yeah, it's very common. All these fancy godmen, I won't take anybody's name because I don't want to get sued, but all of them kind of secretly do practice conversion therapy in their, kya kehte hain, whatever they're called, their places.
Shivir, whatever. Yeah.
That, in that
Ashrams.
ashrams, right?
Yeah. It's a shame to hear. I mean, even the educated, you just told me कि the therapist है उसने भी ऐसे questions उठाए. So I'm actually shocked that somebody
Yeah.
of that stature, somebody who's that educated, if you're doing something like that, what do you expect the normal people to be like?
Actually, to make it like 10 times worse, educated families do it more than people in villages and people who are not educated. Because people who are not educated, they're like, हाँ ठीक है, अभी तो ऐसा इनको feeling हो रही है, बाद में शादी कर लेंगे normal. उनका ये चलता है. People in educated families are like, oh no, our status, our symbol, and if Karan marries a boy, what will I do in my family functions? They actually do this shit more. I've seen more of queer kids from really affluent families and really rich families come to me. And because I work with people, we do fundraisers and we help kids leave abusive households. So I've seen more rich kids come and be like, I can't live in my house. Please help me escape. And we help them get out of their family homes after they turn 18, of course. But this actually is more prevalent in cities like Delhi and Bombay, which are supposed to be quote unquote metropolitan.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I'm still shocked to my very core. First the conversion therapy and then all of this. But okay, let's moving on to the next question. What does it mean to be gender expansive or non-binary, and how is that different from identifying as a transgender?
Is there no other non-binary person? It's just me?
No, that's Xena.
No.
I guess she.
Okay.
I identify as a woman.
Yeah, her pronouns are she, her. I mean, okay. So non-binary and transgender are actually two different things, which people don't realize. Yeah, because I'm only talking about my experience. I'm not going to talk about the whole community. So I, as a non-binary person, I don't identify as either of the two. I don't identify as a man or a woman because I don't feel comfortable in that. It's basically being genderless. I don't have a gender. That's my definition of non-binary. But again, there are people who consider non-binary to be a third gender in itself. So they identify as trans non-binary, or if they want to, it's like an umbrella term used, but transgender means transitioning from one gender to another, be it social transition or just mental transition or proper biological, not proper, sorry, that's the wrong term, just biological transition. So yeah, that's the difference, basic difference between the two.
Okay, thank you for the information. I really did not know about that. Okay, next is, what's the difference between sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression? So these are common questions by our viewers that they would like to know about. Any one of you can answer.
Okay, should I go for it?
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Okay, so see, I may be wrong at some point, so I hope I don't offend anyone by it. I'll just put it out in a very basic way. Sex basically refers to the physical attributes, what they are assigned at birth, basically, such as those external sexual organs and sex chromosomes and internal reproductive structures, that is just biological sex. Whereas gender identity is what an individually deeply feels of like being male, female, or any other gender, and that is completely separate from biological sex. And gender expression, if I come to that, that can be defined as the way we show our gender to the world around us, how we, whether it be through the, how we basically express ourselves. And because if you know, boys and girls are supposed to, girls are supposed to like the color pink, boys are supposed to like the color blue. That somehow explains it. And sexual
Mhm.
orientation is about emotional or physical or romantic attractions to others. Like, see, gender identity and sexual orientation is internally, held knowledge, and in multiple studies, it is, reported about it. It's a very, detailed concept, but this is the most basic way I could put it out. I hope it was fine by what I mean.
Yeah,
So
I got an
basically, uh,
idea. Hmm.
so
Yeah.
basically, gender is a spectrum, and sex is just what biologically we are, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sex
What we
is
are assigned at
biological.
birth.
Yeah, sex is
Yeah.
what we're assigned at birth, and that
Okay.
is also not binary, by the way. People tend to assume that sex is binary. Sex is also
Mm-hmm.
not binary. And gender is a social, I say gender is a social construct because according to me, but I think a lot of studies also back that gender is a social construct, and it is how you see yourself. Like as a child, when you're growing up, you see your father is shaving his beard, your mother is wearing a sari. I'm just giving a stereotypical example. Your mother's wearing a sari, and it is how you see yourself and who you kind of relate to, who you want to be like. And gender expression is completely different from the two, because a lot of people don't know this, but cisgender people can also be like non-binary in their gender expression. They can wear androgynous clothing, they can, cisgender women can have short hair. That's, it doesn't make you non-binary. You can express yourself as a gender fluid person, but you can still identify as cisgender. Your gender can still be a woman. And that, I think, people mess up a lot, because I used to think that I identify as a woman, but my expression is androgynous, but that turned out to be false later on. But
Yeah, it's
Okay,
better.
so I was saying that now I'm going to hand over to Nandini. She's just 16 years old and she's very curious about asking certain questions to you. And that is very impressive to me because I don't see a lot of teenagers being that interested in this topic particularly. Okay, so handing over to Nandini.
As we were talking about these, things ki sari is worn by our mom and all these things. So the question is, why is society associating gender with sex, and why is it not? It's not being. It's not about individuality. Why people are grouping people?
Tina, would you like to take this, or should I do that?
You should take this question.
Okay. So, I will give you a very complicated answer because that's my way to describe it.
Okay.
So the power structures that we have in society, they are mostly threatened by individuality most of the time. So even if you see in representation in Bollywood, you see how gay men are portrayed, like Rishi Kapoor from Student of the Year 2, Dostana, all the Dharma shit shows that we have, how they portray gay men, because queerness is inherently about being individualistic. It's about staying away from the norm. So that's across the globe, not just in India. That individuality threatens the very power structures that society runs on. And that's why it is easier to kind of divide men and women. Like, two division kar diye. One can be used to oppress the another, one can be used to overpower the other. Kar sakte hain. Beech mein the people who exist, who don't want to adhere to the binary, who have a different binary of theirs, who don't want to identify with the structure that tries to oppress them. That is why they are demonized. Most of the time, if you see the very kind of क्या कहते हैं, orthodox जो structures होते हैं, like mostly I'm talking about religious orthodox structures because that's where my trauma comes from. वो जो होते हैं, they will demonize gay people. They won't say कि oh don't be gay because हमारे यहाँ allowed नहीं है. They will say oh my god, gay people will become pakoras in the depths of hell and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
उनका demonization करते हैं, because if not, then once you start questioning, that's what happened with me. Once you start questioning something so quote unquote normalized like your gender में तो बचपन से बताया है, man होता है, woman होता है, trans होता है, that's all. Once you start questioning that, okay, what if I'm not a woman? What if I'm not a woman, then I'm not trans, then what am I? What if I identify as? Once you start questioning that, you will start questioning everything else also. You will say, okay, I'm not allowed to, I don't know, for example, if I have a religion and mere religion mein toilet paper use karna allowed nahi. I'm just giving it an example because I don't want to offend anyone. If that is not allowed, I'll be like, but why? Why is it not allowed?
Right.
Who is in power? Why am I supposed to worship this? Who are you to be between me and my God? You will start questioning other things as well. So historically, queer oppression has been a tool to oppress individuality and to maintain these power structures. I'm sorry,
Okay.
was it that too complicated?
No.
Okay, that's great.
Okay. I have another question. It's why people are unable to accept transgenders, and why are they seen as unnatural or abnormal and different? I don't understand. And what's the ideology behind this?
Stereotypes. I feel if that explains much. I mean, see, I'll be blatantly honest.
Hmm.
I have no idea what they be through, what they go through on a personal level.
Hmm.
And the thing is, the way they have been portrayed through a society is not their fault. It's not how things should have ever been. It's because they haven't been given equal opportunities, to be very precise. There are many,
Right.
many places where they have been discriminated to a whole as another level. And still, I'll be very honest. See, my mom just said this one thing to me, that she was very scared of those people, and I just kept wondering why. I mean, there is nothing different with them. They are human beings. I really never got the concept, and maybe that was
Hmm.
what she wanted to impose on me as well. Thanks to the internet, definitely, I learned a lot, and I understood that it's not how they are being portrayed. They are very different. If given equal
Right.
opportunities, they could have been at a whole as another level. I guess Ishita can explain this a bit better. Please, Ishita.
Yeah, stereotypes are true, but okay, so the Western country, I'm not gonna idealize Bharat and whatever that generally people do, but the West
Okay.
was a very binary society. So man and woman ka bahut zyada, it was like a very proper distinct binary, and in a lot of places, trans people weren't given the same amount of respect as like a cisgender person was. In India, on the other hand, I'm talking about pre-colonial, I'm talking about historical India. In historical India, for example, if you take up Hindu mythology, there were blatantly like trans characters, proper trans characters in Hindu mythology. If you see, if
Hmm.
in terms of fashion, if you see fashion, but if in terms of expression, then if you see the gods and goddesses of Hindu mythology, they dress alike. It's not very different. हाँ वो beautify कर दिया गया है, and like woman has to have a thin waist and whatever. But if you see the पहले के
Right.
structures and sculptures, they look very alike. They dress very alike. So itni binary nahi thi. Colonialism happens. British invade like most of the world. They colonize most of the world. They impose their ideas of gender, of sexuality. Section 377 did not exist in India. India did not
Hmm.
have, did actually trans people were seen as I think, a source of God. They were seen as a source of God. They're still in some places seen as the
Yeah.
pathway to God, and they were
Hmm. Right.
heavily respected. But then the British came in, they imposed their ideas, and they made it no, trans people are different, trans people are this and that, and sex is supposed to be between a man and a woman because that was their religious and
Hmm.
social ideology. That happens, and then from there, that because law was like that, because you were punished for being trans, you were punished for being
Right.
a homosexual person. So law ने ऐसा कर दिया, and that went on from ठीक है ये गलत है to oh no, this is against our culture, this is against our history, because उससे पहले का culture history आपको पढ़ाया ही नहीं, because what you studied was the British culture and history and what the British wanted you to study. Like in schools and stuff, on the fancy schools at the time, you studied only what the British thought was appropriate, and of course they did not have India's queer history. Even now people don't know about India's queer history. Then uske baad, when things like the Stonewall riots and Marsha P. Johnson, people like that emerged, movements like that emerged, then the rest of the world realized that, oh no, that's not okay. People treating people like this, and
Hmm.
for them to have whole movements and riots. And when you start doing that, then people realize that no, trans people are brave, trans people are normal, of course. And uske baad se, of course, it takes time to change things forward. Of course, it takes time, and culture is impacted by media and how media portrays us. And of course, media will not take a chance by showing a transgender character in mainstream cinema unless it's to dehumanize us. So that further the stereotypes and the mistreatment of trans people, the misrepresentation happened. And now I think one of the first few trans people, most cisgender people in India still think that the only job for a trans person is to perform at weddings, which is bullshit. There are such amazing trans people who are in mainstream jobs and who are doctors and engineers. Opportunity though, they will be your quote unquote definition of normal professionally. So I think that I'm sorry, I speak a lot. But yeah, that's what it is.
Okay. So these days I'm seeing a lot of Instagram posts and they are saying that not all menstruators are women and people are taking it as a joke when it's seriously not a joke. So can you guys please educate us on this topic?
May I take this because I am a menstruator who's not a woman?
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
please, Eishita.
Yeah. So I think a lot, again, it's a very historical concept. A woman's identity is only restricted to her reproductive organs and her womb. A lot of value is placed on her womb, and woman's job is to become, again, woman's job is to have babies and be married and blah blah blah, be a mother. Motherhood is also very gendered. Only a woman can be a mother. That's not true. A lot of women do not menstruate because they are trans women, or they just don't because it's a biological thing. Some don't menstruate who have biological issues. On the other side, a lot of menstruators like myself, we have our periods, we do that, but we don't identify as a woman. That does not make me less of a non-binary person, the fact that I get my period. And a trans woman does not become less of a woman because she does not have a period. So there's a lot of value placed on it, and there's a lot of taxation. For the same reason, there's a lot of taxation has been placed on period products because it's seen as a quote unquote luxury by the government, which I'm sorry, periods are not a luxury. I would do anything to not get my periods, but okay, go off, I guess that's luxury. So yeah, that's why it's said that not all menstruators are women, and not every woman menstruates, because placing a lot of value in someone's reproductive organs, in someone's womb, in someone's menstruation cycle, it takes away from their identity, and it just makes you a baby making machine. Does the woman not have value if she cannot have a child? Is that her only job? That's why it's said that not every menstruator is a woman, and not everyone who wait, I'm getting confused. Not every menstruator is a woman, and not every woman menstruates. Yeah.
Okay. So that's it. I don't have any more questions.
Okay, thank you, Nandini. Thank you, Eishita. And now we have Alok Singh, and he's also here to have a conversation. So handing over to Alok.
Hi. My question is actually not. It's a very personal thing. There's no deeper ideology or profound thing behind it. So because of a turn of events or whatever, in the last 5 years, 4 years I have spent. I mean, let me just tell something about it. I identify myself as a man, as manly as a man can get, right? But so in the last 4 years out of the last 5 years, I have spent my time cooking, washing, taking care of my family. I mean, I've been a housewife for 2 years with my ex-partner, and man or whatever, and a nurse, cook, or everything for my parents for the last 2 years. And I am pretty comfortable doing that. But what happens is, like, I was hearing you guys talk, and somehow I think I get treated like a queer guy. So what I'm trying to understand is, where am I? That's how I'm looked at. कि ये क्या कर रहा है तू? Right? And so where am I standing in this? I mean, am I seen as a queer guy? Am I seen as a straight guy? Am I seen as a weirdo? What is it?
So what do you identify as a cisgender man, as a man, right? As a straight man?
Yeah.
Then you're a straight man. Simple. It doesn't matter what
No.
society sees you as.
Because it's sort of completely changes my social relationships. The relationships I was used to having 5 years earlier. Those people don't interact with me the same way they did earlier.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
No, I was gonna ask something. Go on, Eishita.
Well, I'm sorry, I will be a little bit rude here. But if
Please, yes.
someone is seeing you differently because you're taking care of your family, and because you're cooking for them, because you're caring for them, that sounds like a them problem. Because someone caring for their family is a beautiful thing. Having a family itself is a beautiful thing, and caring for them does
Exactly.
not make you less of a thing. So
Sorry,
that sounds
but
like a them problem. Yeah.
the person who had the most problem with it was my ex-wife.
Well,
I
go on, Xena.
I had this one question, like, so apparently you doing basic things like cooking, taking care of family, washing utensils.
That was obviously because I
according
didn't
to
have a job
them.
at the time. Sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay, but was that considered something being you related to a queer identity? That's what she said or what she felt. Is it true?
No, so how it started was she was like, "Are you comfortable doing this?" I said, "Yeah, I'm very comfortable doing this." And that sort of set her off. How can you be comfortable doing this?
That's such ingrained patriarchy and misogyny in your ex-wife.
Exactly. That's what I wanted.
Because she sees the very distinct
I'm sorry.
binary.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to put blame on anybody. I'm just trying to ask. The question I was trying to ask is, see, I mean, I can. Maybe I'm not that into the queer culture yet, but I can identify myself as whatever. But that is and will be conditioned by how other people see me. So I'm trying to understand: are the other people seeing me as queer, or are they seeing me as a straight weird guy?
See, it's not weird doing things that are very basic. See, just imagine, Alok, if you were living alone, okay, won't you be cleaning your house? Won't you be cooking for yourself? Right.
So I am expected to keep a house help to do those things by everybody.
That is what people are expecting. See, how can you relate what you are feeling as a whole with what other people have to say about you? People, have this idea that they are the one, like you have to seek validation. You never have to seek validation from anyone about who you are or how you feel. And when it comes to being a part of the community, it comes from you. It never what imagine a kalpo aake if someone comes to me and says you are not bisexual, okay, you are transgender, or you are see, it will be coming off very bad, but what if someone just comes up to me and says, yeah, you are not bisexual, you are the pansexual? Do I have to accept it? No, I don't feel that way. I don't, absolutely don't. And doing basic things like cooking, which is like a very, very normal thing. It starts, this is really very patriarchal, because people are men are expected to work, go out to do work. That is what they're expected to do. Women are supposed, double quote, supposed to stay at home, take care of the kids. But that's a very patriarchal ideology that's internalized, and that is changing every day. So if Alok, someone just comes up to you and says stuff like this, all I would say is don't give a shit about it. Don't feel that you are a part of a community, or even if part of the community is a very different concept, but you don't have to feel weird about something like that.
I get your point, but my question was slightly different.
Okay,
I'm just trying to see it from the other person's point of view.
Can I say something?
I feel very comfortable what I am. I just want to know what is the other person's, how is the other person seeing me? Is it possible to, I mean, don't give a damn is fine, but wouldn't it be nice to know what the other person is thinking?
I think what other people think is their perspective, and everyone is having a different perspective. They are associating duties with gender, with orientations, and that's bullshit. So
Agreed.
maybe some people are seeing you as a man, or but maybe some people are seeing you as a, you know, any other thing that you're not.
See, again, you said that if you're living alone, you will expect it to have a house help, and traditionally you'll expect it to have a female house help, because
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
society
Yeah,
that we live
yeah,
in,
yeah.
we have put woman in the kitchen and in the bedroom कि मतलब तुम please your man and make food for your man and for your children. That's
Yeah.
again
Mhm.
कि औरत की value ही उतनी है कि you have to be a mother and a wife. That it comes down to. And you doing work does not take away from your masculinity or make you less of a man. वो तो
No, it
that
does
is
not.
what we're clear with.
I-
Yeah.
I'm
We're
very
clear with
comfortable
that.
with that. Yeah.
And the very basis, like the very basic concept of queerness is individuality, which abhi maine pehle bola tha, that
Yeah.
individuality is something that threatens the power structures. Power structures, powerhouses will never like someone who is an individualistic person. Unko rules adhere karne wale log pasand hai. So yeah, some people who put a woman's value in the kitchen, who are ingrained like this, even women themselves, they will see you as, they will assume that you're queer, they'll assume that you are whatever, less of a man because of what you do. But that does not, yeah, as you said, you're very
No,
comfortable with your identity.
Yeah. So you sort of hinted at it, and that's the question I'm trying to ask. I don't know if you know the word or not. There is a word which is called mauga.
No idea.
Okay. Pansy.
Yeah.
So now, see, ultimately we live in a society, and we have to be once we are comfortable with ourselves, we have to deal with the people around us.
Yeah.
Now, in order to deal with those people, I need to know what's going on in their minds. So in their minds, who am I is what I was saying. But yes, you answered it. It's who I am. Is who I am.
Yeah. And it's threatening their ingrained, मतलब उनको ये लग रहा है कि अरे हमको तो बचपन से ये सिखाया गया, हमें तो ये बताया गया. This is what their ingrained mindset is. You are threatening that as a comfortable man, as someone who is embracing his masculinity and his duties as a person in a house who should do all the work. So you are threatening their mindset.
Yeah,
which is
in the process, I'm sort of becoming a bit of a misfit here, which is what
you're making them uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're choosing to that's why they're trying to oppress you and trying you to get to adhere to the binary, because that makes them uncomfortable. Because they're like, अरे ये क्या हो रहा है? ये तो हमें कभी बताया ही नहीं गया. Yeah, that's what's going on.
So what I feel the basic gist is that it's not your problem. It's like the deep roots of patriarchy and the deep roots of misogyny which has been going on in people's minds, that is making you uncomfortable. But if you are comfortable in yourself, if you as an individual feel totally okay with whatever you're doing, so I don't think it even matters what other people think. I
identify as non-binary, and like so many people come up to, they're like, but you look like a woman, and I'm like, but you look like an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
No problem. That's how you look at me. That's how you look at women. That's not my problem. तुम करो तुमको जो करना है. I'm still non-binary. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what the problem is. इतनी I don't want to say, but इतनी घटिया चीजें normalize करके गई है ना कि इंसान की गलती भी नहीं है. They're just, they're conditioned in a way कि हाँ ये normal है, ये normal है. Yeah.
So I'll give an example. It's not a queer example, but it's an example regardless. My father recently passed away, like 2020. I lost my father, and my mother was always, my mother was brought up in a very patriarchal household, and then she got married into a very patriarchal household. So she has always followed the rules that men around her have told her, like my father or her father. उन्होंने क्या बताया कि इतने बजे घर आना है, वो करना है. That's what she has always followed. Recently, we were out somewhere, and she says, it's 6 o'clock, let's go home. And I was like, why? Who are you answerable to? If you want to stay out till 7, 8, 9, stay out. You have a car, you have a job, you can stay out. And the look of like disbelief on her face, she was like, what I can do? Like the shock on her face was heartbreaking for me, because I was like, woman, you are 50 plus years old. Of course you can do that. And she's like, yeah, but I have never stayed out till 7. Like I always go home at 5, and I was like, no, stay out with me till 7. We will be fine. And we did. And it was like her brain exploded because she's like, wow, I can do things by myself. I don't have to adhere to somebody else's rules now. Like not now, but like I don't have to adhere to somebody else's rules. So yeah, that's what happens. उनको लगा कि उनको वैसे ही रहना है, because that's what she's been told her entire life. For like 50 plus years, she's been living like that. So yeah.
That feels, so good that she was finally able to, have that mind explosion wala thing. But at the same
Yeah.
time, it feels really sad to learn about the fact that how deep these things are and how it is affecting a person as an individual, and it might get still happening around. Patriarchy is so normalized, and things that actually need to be normalized are not.
Yeah, very normal. Ki, Arey, to, why did you stay out till this hour? Why were you wearing this? Why did Arey?
Yeah.
I was wearing this. I wanted to wear. Like, nahi, why were you doing this? Why were you doing that?
People feel as if we need their validation. कहीं पे भी कुछ भी करोगे, whether it's your career, whether it's your life, they are society in general. I don't know why people think this way कि यार we need their validation. Like, don't know, we are fine with ourselves. We don't need your interference in our life.
The mere fact that women are still shocked when you tell them certain things. Yeah, you can wear this, you can stay out till this, and they're like, oh really? ऐसा भी होता है?
Oh my, yeah.
So that is
recently having a conversation with my professors about cisgender entitlement, which means that when I came out, this very close friend of mine, when I came out as non-binary, actually, not when I came out as bi, then so everybody was like, yeah, we knew. But when I came out as non-binary, this very close friend of mine goes, Eishita, this doesn't make you any less of an amazing person. Very seriously, it doesn't make you any less of an amazing person. And I was like, yeah, I know. My identity doesn't. तुम validate क्या कर रहे हो? मुझे मालूम है ये. उनको लगता है कि वाओ मतलब हमने validate कर दिया, इनकी जिंदगी बन गई. उनको they're like नहीं, this doesn't make you less. I'm like, yeah, I know. Thank you very much. And like straight people will post stuff like, oh, happy pride, love is love. You will always be welcomed by me. Cool. But like, will other people welcome me? Because I don't give a shit if you welcome me or not. But I want to like exist without the fear of dying. That's what I want. They will put like rainbow eyeshadow and be like, Arey, I have ended gender roles. I have ended homophobia. Recently, when this whole thing happened with Komal Pandey and what's his name, Siddharth Batra, where they were celebrated by Vice India for wearing quote unquote gender bending clothes. Hello, queer people have been doing that for ages, for decades.
Exactly.
Yeah. I did this thing on my Instagram, but I was like, guys, I'm a cisgender person. मैंने पापा का blazer पहन लिया, खत्म हो गए gender roles. They are over. Because that's what I believe cisgender people think like.
This thing, sorry for cutting you off.
No, sorry, I was cutting you off. Carry on.
This thing, makes me like literally wonder how people are so, amazed. Like, if you would have noticed, opportunities नहीं दी जाती है, ठीक है, कितनी जगह LGBTQ community को जहाँ जहाँ portray करा है, वहाँ पे opportunity. If someone remembers this very very problematic movie that has recently come up, Pati Patni and what's that name, Ishita, if you remember?
Panga. Pati Patni and Panga.
Pati Patni or Panga. And I was surprised. I was like, literally, no, I was, in utter shock of how stupid people are. कोई रिसर्च नहीं करते ये लोग, कुछ जानते नहीं और अपॉर्चुनिटीज तो ये भूल ही गए हैं देना. These people are so fucking done. I mean, I really want to rant about this. I can go all day long about how weird are people when it comes around to them.
It's become more of a trend rather than creating awareness, being supportive. It's become a trend.
Actually, this is one thing I would like to say. It might offend some people, I'd say, but I have seen people. There are some girls who apparently think that being bisexual is sexually appeasing to men. I don't know if you get it or not.
I definitely get that.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that's also
I
very
have,
ingrained in patriarchy. Go on. Sorry.
Yes, very very ingrained. And what happened is there are two very things I experience a lot. I, as a bisexual woman, girls want to, experiment with me. Okay. And see, somewhere I as a person didn't have any to talk to about my sexuality, or how I want to express myself, how I want to talk to people about it. So somewhere at a certain point I want to be there for, I want to be absolutely there for them. Yes, I'm there with you, we want to explore. But again, I don't want to be a fucking experiment. Just because I'm bisexual, that doesn't give you, the right to, okay, can I experiment with you? Dude, that feels so weird to me. And the fact that people think it's normal, and uske baad se I see women out there, literally some girls, young girls, they're like, I'm bisexual and he likes it. I'm like, "Oh," and he's okay with it. I'm utterly surprised that they think this is a fucking kink or something like that. It's very annoying. वो literally ये सब इसीलिए करते हैं कि यार maybe this looks very hot, that's why I'm a bisexual person. I'm like, यार, okay, I don't wanna judge them, but at the same time I can't even help it. I don't know if other people have seen it, but I've seen this a lot, hell lot.
Society
Yeah,
can't
even I've seen
fathom-
that.
Society can't fathom the idea of women being attracted to anyone but men.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
Men are like, oh, why didn't you tell me you're bi? Why didn't you tell me you're straight? I didn't feel important enough to tell you.
Dude.
That's why. Simple.
Okay, can I come in here?
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sure.
See, as somebody who identifies himself as straight, heterosexual, I have a sort of a question here. Now, this again comes back to what I was saying earlier, that how we interact with the society. Now, I mean, this is going to sound very offensive to you guys, I know, but
Yeah,
just
it's
put
okay.
up with me for a
Please
while.
ask.
Right?
Now,
Take your time. Yeah.
don't be scared of offending us. We know your intentions aren't bad. It's okay. You can
Yeah.
say however you
Yeah. So when you are confronted by a heterosexual, patriarchal person, I will see it as he's not a bad guy. He's a patriarchal guy, right? There's a difference between being a bad guy and there's a difference between being a patriarchal guy, right? So that patriarchal guy, that guy sees you as an idiot, stupid, complete moron, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who doesn't know what's good for her or him, right? That's how that person is seeing you, right? Now, queerness is only a small aspect of it, right? There are people. This person is not. I mean, his life's goal is not to target queer people. His life's goal is to target all kinds of people who are different from him. And some of the people he's opposing are actually idiots. They're actually louds, and they actually need to be put down, right? Now, so when we are, so let's say I as a straight guy, right? I find someone who is offensive, very offensive, and this has sort of happened with me a few times, and then I begin to tell that guy, look, dude, you're going out of line. Just stay in the, and then he gives me that look. Okay, are you doing that because I'm queer? And then I sort of back off.
What is your? I'm sorry, but what is your definition of offensive? Like, what is the offensive thing? Like, can you give me an example? Because my definition of I am very. Yeah.
So there's this colleague I had in my office, and quite clearly, I mean, we never. I mean, he didn't. I mean, it's not like he was hitting on me. That's not how it was. But we were having a we were having an edit meet, and I don't even remember properly how it was. So I just told him that stop being an idiot, stop being a weirdo. And then it suddenly everybody else knew what it was, and it just I'm actually mixing up two things here, but this was one aspect of it. The other aspect I was trying to bring up was what happens. I mean, do you realize that the person who's having let's say an older person in a family or an office setup who is who's supposedly having a problem with a queer person is he gets a lot of support from people sometimes, because this guy also puts down people who are very offensive and need to be put down, and this guy is unable to differentiate between. See, you get what I'm saying. For him, queerness is not queerness. For him, queerness is one part of a broad category of offensive things.
Alok, I'm trying to understand your question, but by far, what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, so basically, you're trying to say is that if a queer person is calling you offensive,
so there are two questions actually. I need to separate that. These are two separate questions. One was that I get into an argument with a queer person, and then I feel okay. Am I out of line here? The other thing is the thing that I talked about. This person who's sometimes calling you, who's targeting you for your queerness, he's probably not targeting your queerness. He is targeting, in general, everything that is. I mean, he's also targeting a person of a lower caste. He's also targeting somebody who's. I mean, if he's an editor, he's targeting photographers. If he is a photographer, he's targeting graphic designers. Those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm basically saying that. I'm trying to look at it from the other person's point of view. That he's not. Do you think probably he's not targeting queerness? He's targeting something bigger, and we are getting caught in it.
I would say most of the queer community across the world, not even just in India, most of the queer community gets faces microaggression every single day for our identity. Most of us. Yeah. So for us, the default is okay. They're probably behaving this way to me because I'm a queer person. Because there are people who do like that. There are people, me personally, who've taken away opportunities for me because I am a non-binary queer person, because they don't want quote unquote someone like me to later accuse them of something if they go out of line, and also because as a human being in general, you refuse to change your ideas and your mindset. So if I tell you, hey, you calling, for example, I'm not attacking you. If I say, hey, you calling me a weirdo gives some like homophobic undertone. So if you could not say that, if I say something, you'll instantly go in defense. No, but I'm just calling you weird because blah, blah, blah. So you won't, generally people won't listen. And more often than not, queer people are outnumbered by straight people. So there will be one gay person and like 10 straight people, and then 10 straight people will be like, nahi, usne to ye nahi bola tha. You are just overreacting. And that just goes into a cycle. So that is why it's like the first reaction of most queer people is, okay, you are attacking me for my identity. Fuck you. Secondly, it's not. Secondly, it's not a responsibility, I feel, as queer people to take care of people who are being oppressive towards us. Like, okay, you have all these ideas about other things also, but that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to not have you be offensive towards me and my community, and I will correct that. Baki tumhe, if you are just a terrible person, that's not my job to correct you. My job is to ask you to not be an asshole towards me and my people. I mean, I'm sorry, my language is very harsh, but yeah, because I'm tired of teaching straight people how to be empathetic.
Yeah, I'll just add something here. I'll add two kind of things here. First is see, if I'm a bisexual woman, and if you call me if you call out me for my work, I can't just come up to say that you're homophobic, right? Because my gender, my sexuality is, I'm not just my sexuality, if you're trying to get what I'm trying to say. But at the same time, see, people are different. Now there's this one influencer, I obviously won't take her name. And what they do is people just out to learn. They want to learn, and they ask them in their DMs, can you explain me the difference between that? But they get very easily offended. He gets offended, and now as a person, even I'm a bisexual person, I'm a part of the community, I kind of feel bad that maybe that person's intentions are not wrong. But at the same time, maybe that person is already done with this bullshit. They're like, no, I don't want to do this. This is affecting me. and maybe that's where they lash out their anger. So these two things, that mini aggression wala thing which Ishita told, is very true. People are done. Maybe at one point Ishita will be like, see, I don't want to educate you all no more anymore. I'm done with that. Why? And that person also did the same way. They were like, just go to Google, just search it. Why are you asking me? But at the same time, maybe people want, that person's irrespective, that person's point of view. And at the same time, and this very thing, Alok, maybe that person took it to himself or his identity, and I may be wrong here, but what I feel is that you're not just a bisexual person, you're more than that. We are trying to, we are this is very, very controversial in such a way, because yes, we are oppressed. People try to be dominant towards us, and yes, there is that 1 to 10 ratio. So that is why we can't actually help saying this stuff ki, yes, I'm a bisexual person, you need to understand, because people tend to not even consider that anything now. It's a very basic thing. But at the same time, people, if a person is just ki, all I am is my sexuality, that's also wrong. So I hope this somehow answered your question.
And
Yes,
sorry, may I continue? My
please,
pronouns
yes.
are they, she, right? And people, mostly in professional settings, just started addressing me by only she, her pronouns. And if I say that, my pronouns are they, she, they're dual pronouns, could you please use both? And I explained to them how dual pronouns work. And I explained to them, they just go, Are yaar, but she bhi to hai na. I'm used to calling you she, her pronouns. And then the other 10 straight people are like, we are also used to calling you by she, her pronouns. That is an act of microaggression, but they are seeing it as per hamari to aadat hai ye karna. Even after I've explained that, hello, this triggers my trauma, ye hota hai, ye reasoning hoti hai, uske baad bhi they won't do that. Also, I'll give you an example of criticism and how it varies in that. So, Billy Porter, okay, Billy Porter is a black man. He's a wonderful celebrity, and he wore a dress to, I think, the Oscars. I don't remember. He wore a black dress, upar tuxedo, and niche a ball gown to the Oscars, and he looked gorgeous. What did the media do? They tore him to shreds for wearing that. Why is this black man wearing this? What kind of outfit is this? What does he have? He was torn to fucking shreds for his outfit. Big deal. Wearing a ball gown and a tuxedo. Koi baat nahi, pehen sakte hain, but he was torn to shreds for that. I think Vogue also did a story, I'm not sure, on him. Second, then what happens? Mr. Harry Styles. Unlabeled, and Billy Porter is an openly gay man. Harry Styles, Mr. Harry Styles, unlabeled man who says that he's part of the community, but he doesn't label himself. A white cisgender man who's unlabeled wears a dress for whom? For Vogue America, and he's boasted, oh my god, first man to wear a dress on Vogue's cover. So that it comes down to Billy Porter is a black gay man. Harry Styles is a white unlabeled cis man. And you are criticizing one person more than the other, which comes down to some amount of racism. Because why is Billy wearing a dress worse than Harry Styles wearing a dress? Why is one person getting criticized more? So if you ask someone, they're like, no, because Billy Porter was wearing a boring outfit and Oscars and Harry Styles did a photo shoot. They will give that explanation. But inherently, the same is na? Two men wearing the same outfit. A black man, a gay man, you have a problem. A cis man, an unlabeled man, a white man, you don't have a problem.
Right. Can I add something to this?
Sure.
So I saw a TED talk yesterday. It was about trans and black people. So there was a fact that out of 25 murdered people, 18 are trans and black. So racism is a big part of this.
Yeah, racism in the US and casteism in India. Dalit queer people are attacked more than upper caste queer people. Rishi Raj is one of the most iconic Dalit queer people in India on social media. But if he wears a dress, he gets shat on. He gets so much crap for that. He's called homophobic slurs, caste slurs. He's asked to clean washrooms and whatnot. Usko pata nahi kya bolte hain. And he's like, he death threats. People showed up to his house and stuff, I think, at one point. On the other hand, Siddharth Batra, straight cis man, apparently, straight cis man, he wears a dress and people are like, wow, you are destroying the gender binary. What is this? Why is there a distinction between an upper caste cishet man and a Dalit queer man? Dalit queer person, I'm sorry.
So, as someone who's, I'm sorry, my awareness about the queer community is not very much, and I'm hoping to sort of learn a few things here. Like there are various subaltern groups in everywhere that we go, and the queer community is obviously one of those. So yeah, how does a queer person see himself? Does he see himself as just another subaltern community, or is it different?
I feel as everyone has it's different for everyone. It can be explained the same way. For me, it's not nothing is about just my sexuality, and maybe it will be different for Eishita. Maybe it will be different for some other person, if that explains it.
I mean, as a member of a community, if I'm a Dalit guy, there is a there's a certain way that I'm treated, and there's a certain way I respond to that oppression. So, are there learnings from other subaltern communities, or is for the queer community is completely their own experience, not separate from other subaltern groups?
Queerness is again an individualistic thing, so it depends on how one person sees himself. For some people, like for me, my very existence is an act of rebellion against all the trauma that I was been put through and how society sees me. My very existence is an act of rebellion because I was not supposed to grow up to be who I am today, but I did, and that is something I'm very, very proud of, and I'm very, very open because I don't want other kids who are like kids now to go through that, and I try to be as open as possible so that someone somewhere out there sees me and goes, oh, okay, it's normal, it's cool, and then identifies themselves soon and doesn't have to go through that trauma. But on the other hand, some people are just queer, and whatever their identity is, they keep it at that, and they don't feel the need to even come out, which they shouldn't. And they keep it to them. They like don't make it as big of a deal as someone like me does. A lot of people hate comments I get, oh, you make your queerness your entire identity. I'm like, okay, I do. My identity, I can do that. Yeah.
This is just how we have to, we just have to educate and keep evolving as time passes. There's nothing we can, I mean, we can do a lot about it, but change will happen at a pace.
Yeah. A lot of responsibility is placed on queer people, but it should be on the quote unquote majority. They should have the responsibility to educate themselves. But hame sikhana padta hai.
Exactly. Okay, so on that note, we have to end today's discussion. As much as it breaks my heart, we are time biased.
I have a thing to say. Can I? Sorry to cut you.
Yeah, that's okay. We just have a minute left.
Short.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to say that gender orientation and everything is it's dividing us. We need to understand that we are just humans, and we need to look beyond everything. We need to see that we are just humans and consciousness, nothing else.
Yes, exactly. That's just like everyone is just human. I don't think your sexuality is something by which you have to be demeaned or something like that. It's just human. Everybody is the same. If I like a man, if I like a woman, that's completely up to me. That's my decision, not somebody else's. Right. Okay, so it was great talking to you guys, and thank you for educating us. Thank you for making us aware about our questions and giving wonderful answers. Thank you, and we'll see you again, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thanks to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day and night. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye, guys.